coming through Skype. Mute your room, please, on Blog TV.
You know what? I'll tell you what, I'm just going to mute my mic. If you need me, holler, and I'll turn my mic back on.
Okay, right.
I'm going to do that, and then we can just be on.
Yeah, okay then.
Right, so I want to bring this on.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
Yeah.
I didn't think you had a Skype, so...
I did, but I had the music on. Right. Keep your Skype on, Steve, on text. But I want to bring you in on some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight.
I can barely hear you.
Okay, let me adjust the microphone. Alright,
I heard her say something about leaving Skype on or something. That's all I heard.
Right, we'll check. We'll check.
I didn't just leave the Skype on because they wanted to burn the signal sign on something.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay going through.
Yeah, okay.
Right, okay friends, hopefully you can hear me on Blog TV. This is your computer tech show by myself, Pccareman, and the moderators that usually help me out. So I'd like to welcome everybody back into the room, like a Silver, Steve, and Tax, also the people that's here in the room outside. Okay, so what we normally do here is we normally talk about some of the tech news that's been happening this last couple of weeks on the internet. And you can get some of this information from different websites on the internet. Some people use SINS, S-I-N-S, security site, to get their feedbacks. And some people use Twitter, and some people use Security Focus, Hacker News on different websites. So there has been quite a bit of cyber crime happening on the internet this last couple of weeks. And you notice that Mozilla, to start off with the first one, from hotsecurity.com, Mozilla offers a new personal website system to help people to create usernames and passwords. Some people use the same password or the same account. Some people use the same password for Facebook, the same one for Twitter, the same one for blog, and the same one for their emails, and etc. If you use the same password, it makes it easier for someone to try and crack. Unfortunately, some of the people that hack computer systems are quite smart. Some use third-party tools, as John the Ripper, which is a password cracker. Some use Canadian to try and hack and to try and find the passwords. These are only a few examples of some of the tools on the internet that are available to people today. It is illegal to hack someone's site. It is also very hard to prove it. You do have to have quite a bit of knowledge about computer technology in some form to try and find out how it's done if you're lucky. Some of these programs you can download password dictionaries and extract them into programs. There's also some good news. There's quite a number of tools available to us for watching our network. An example is our friend using or piggybacking our Wi-Fi connection. You do have quite a number of programs you can use for that. You also have programs to help you remove viruses off your computer. Those that are recognised by the security companies, but unfortunately it takes a bit of time usually to pick them up. Now, Adobe, as usual, has a few more problems. Adobe Flash and etc. Also, if you're using the VMware article for the test software out, or you're trying to run an operating system on the VMware, there also is a Java exploit out at the minute on Java 6, 7 and etc. As far as I know, a couple were fixed, but there's still a couple that hasn't been fixed yet. You're probably saying to yourself, why would I worry about that? Well, the simple solution, or the simple reason you would worry is, if you're using a flash player and there is an exploit out on it, well then there's a possibility your computer could get infected. You also could get a remote Trojan installed on your computer, which basically will carry the access code or information to a third party. We can't stop them all, but we can try and keep up with what is happening. Not only the computers can get infected, also the Android mobiles. You'll notice there, if you can see this, Bitdefender White Stopper prevents remote USSD attack on Androids. And this security news was on the 28th of September 2012. And we use these websites, basically it's a way of keeping ourselves up to date of what's going on. The Android dealer this week was found vulnerable to a remote wipe attack by means of passing specialized strings of characters with a certain prefix to the phone's dollars. If you are using an Android phone, it is possible to boot an antivirus program on your Android phone. Years ago, people didn't worry about it because there wasn't many infections out for the Android phones or the mobile phones. But unfortunately, anything with a chip in it these days can be infected. Now, there's one funny piece of news. That's right. It's funny in a sense, okay, because personally speaking, if I was having sex, I wouldn't have my computer cam on. I wouldn't be doing it in the computer room, for starters. We are all human, especially when you're married, going with a girl or etc. But this particular one here stands out. It says several PC companies used computers they rented to clients to spy on people having sex. Several different firms secretly took such webcam pictures with software from Digitalware, which could also track keystrokes, locations, and other personal data. These include email, social media, and financial credits, social security numbers, and etc. Okay, so when I first seen this here, I said to myself, oh my God. So it does give me an idea that could happen. It could happen. I've also heard of webcam programs out there that you can take over someone's webcam. They have been out quite a number of years. Some of the security experts say if you're not using your webcam, unplug it or put a piece of sticky tape across the lens. I did do a bit of research on how to hack a webcam about a year ago, and there was a tool out called Pccareman where you could hook to someone's webcam and basically see within a radius of what they have in their home. So it's also something to take into consideration. I don't believe a lot of people can realise that you can actually do that. Unfortunately, there's quite a number of things you can do with computers. As I say, it depends on the person's qualifications or the person's knowledge of how to use them. Cybercrime just doesn't affect one part of the world, it also affects many parts of the world, including Australia. There has been a couple arrested in Australia's biggest identity crime investigation, and that was on September the 27th, 2012. And basically, this couple was arrested in the morning for making manufactured false documents and credit cards. Officers handcuffed the 48-year-old man and 40-year-old woman at their house because cybercrime, unfortunately, is costing the governments of the world in the UK, America, Canada, Australia, and etc. millions of pounds in cybercrime. And these guys or people are using scanning machines from third world countries. Basically, if you go to your ATM machine outside your bank, there is a chance that they can scan by using a laptop computer sitting in a car park. There's been a number of videos on YouTube that you can watch where some of the hacker communities demonstrate how easy it is by using a laptop and programming code to scan and get your PIN number. There's also, has been mentioned on the television in Northern Ireland in recent months that some of the criminals in the third world country are carrying a scanning device in their pocket. So if you're doing your shopping, your credit card is in your wallet, they basically walk past and they can pick up all the credit card numbers. Where then, in my opinion, they would basically find a way of making a credit card and emptying your bank account. Also, you could have another type of scam, it's called a social engineering scam, where someone will send you an email and say there's something wrong with your bank or your account, and click on this link below and change your password. Friends, be careful, it is no scam. Be careful you don't get conned. I lost £320 a few months ago by using the ATM machine outside my bank. Within 10 minutes, there was £328 taken out of my account. Lucky for me, my bank reimbursed me with that money because the security lied in their system. So that's how easy it is for you to get your money stolen. You'll probably see some of the stuff there as I'm scrolling up this particular site here. You do have a username and passwords. Also, the latest Java 5, 6 and 7 exploit could affect 1 billion users. To give you some information on the Java exploit, Java Security Sandbox bypass in the environment of Java 5, 6 and 7 is supposed to be the worst than previous exploits because more than 1 billion users could be affected. The recommendation with Java on your browser is disable it. And one of the other recommendations reference the Java exploit is to install it. They did fix it, and that was posted on September the 26th, but there's also another one out, I believe. So unfortunately, the criminals will take every advantage that they can. Some will even wait until they fix the Java exploit because they've got something better ready to put on. So it's a cat and mouse game in the computer world. We all know if you get infected, you can do a number of things. We know that you can scan our system, we can poke about and try and find it, we can format our systems and we can reinstall. But sometimes that can be a pain in the butt. Some of us do back up and some of us don't. That's just about Ubuntu 12.10 that was brought out. There's a wave of protests for privacy concerns. Now, Internet Explorer 7, 8 and 9 is also infected at the present time. They did produce an update last week, I believe, but I believe there's still also another infection out. And how I know is by listening to the Security Night podcasts from Steve Gibson, TRC, and I listened to the original one there, which was about questions and answers, and I did cover quite a number of bits of information to do with different exploits. Okay, to give you a couple of pieces more, then I'll move on with the a couple of topics that I have in mind for tonight. Iran. Just waiting for this Pokemon here passes. I have a nice cream on going about.
Free pokes for everyone. Poke, poke.
Okay, Pokemon's now away. Iran is to switch to domestic internet. Okay, everybody has heard on the news about politics and about different countries that are having problems at the minute with nuclear missiles and etc. Iran has decided to switch to domestic internet. Google and Gmail are filtered under further notice. I believe Iran is, as far as the technology world is concerned, because of the dispute between countries about nuclear missiles and etc., have decided to switch and do away with Google completely, because they were hit last year, or was it the year before, with an infection called a stucknut, which was basically designed and installed by a USB drive. So some of the countries in the world are now using cybercrime for their own advantage, I believe, to try and bring down certain countries on etc. because it saves money and can slow processes down. So let's just give you a bit about Iran. As far as I know, they're doing away with Google completely. And they've mentioned something about a worm here, a computer worm called Stuxnet, Stuxnet, which is a piece of programming code that is designed to stop something or disrupt it or infect it. Also, Facebook and etc. are getting exploits from time to time. Also, a zero-day exploit was found on the Samsung Galaxy S3. So, and that was posted on September the 20th. So yes, your mobile phone can be infected too. Now, I would use AVOS Internet Security program on my Android phone. I also have set my Android phone only to use the apps from the Android store to try and basically prevent myself from getting infected. On my MacBook, I have it set only to download from genuine apps from the Apple Store, because on the MacBook with the latest OS you can set it to install third-party programs. I have mine set not to do that, just as a precaution to try and protect my system. I also have my MacBook set up with encryption with a key over 25 characters, and I have saved the key on the Apple website. Obviously, with that many keys and not having it on the flash drive, sometimes you can forget. So I do have it encrypted. So encryption can also help you protect your personal information. Now, Microsoft did release a fixed tool for Internet Explorer vulnerability, and that was on September the 20th. So there is a fixed tool, and basically, according to security researchers, variants of the new Internet Explorer exploit are used to infect users with a remote access Trojan. I don't use Internet Explorer browser, but there's quite a number of people still use it on Blog TV as their personal web browser. So if you're using Internet Explorer, friends, just be careful and make sure that there's not an exploit out. You can go to Pccareman.com. I actually sent this website to Steve Gibson this week, in case he wasn't aware of it, to try and give him some extra security information to help his users and fans like yourself. Last but not least, September the 20th, thousands of hacks and cracks on YouTube spend endless surveys for money, fake antiviruses, and etc. YouTube video distribution, several bogus accounts have been created recently with thousands of videos providing instructions on various cracking and hacking tools. Well, that has been out for a long time. If you go to YouTube now and you want to find out how to hack a password, there is videos on it. So this is the sort of thing you're up against. Obviously they can't stop everything being posted. In a sense, it's a good thing, not always a bad thing, because by watching it and you don't understand how to crack a password, or you want to understand how the bad people work, how they try to get access to your computer, then watching these videos, it'll give you some understanding of how to use it, or what they need to do to get that information. not always when you receive an email just by an email with no attachment does not mean you can't be hacked. There is hacker tax files out there. A lot of people don't understand what they are. But if you type into Google hacker tax files, you start to understand that you can be hacked by a tax file too. So it doesn't have to be a virus. Any method at all of getting you to click on something or redirect you will give the third party or person a certain amount of information about you and what you're using. So they can build up a profile on you to try and find a way of getting you or messing you about. So you have to try and be on top of both of these things and people. Okay, so the list goes on and on, friends. I'm not going to bore you with all the information. The list goes on and on as far as exploits. Anybody that's in the room that has heard of an exploit, don't be afraid of typing in the chat room and share with us. Microsoft Windows 7 did release a few updates this week, so check that your system's up to date. These exploits and these viruses, malware and etc. are designed every second of the day. You don't have to be paranoid using a computer, but it is nice to know what's going on in the big wide world. Welcome to the room, King May, and anyone else that come in. Okay, so we're just talking about cybercrime and what's happening on the internet. For anybody that is interested. Now, a couple of people said to me a couple of weeks ago about their Flash. The Flash was crashing on their browser. And the reason I believe it's been happening is because there was a problem with the Flash player. Unfortunately, Adobe has been getting a lot of problems recently. Google Chrome, I believe, has updated. And also, Firefox browser, if you're using it, check that you've got the latest version. The latest version of Firefox, I believe, is 15.0.1. So it does good to check if you haven't got your settings set right. If there's an update comes out for your browser, do you update it? Crime does not pay on the internet. Sooner or later you will get caught. And that's for anybody that does decide to try and get access to someone's account. Some people get away with it for a while, but eventually some people are also caught. And there's an example there, which was made last year. A woman was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for a phishing conviction. So yes, you can get caught. Even the best of the best get caught. If you go back to the best hackers in the world that are recognised by governments, you will see quite a lot of top ones have actually been caught and actually have started their own business on the side of help people. So you can get caught. It depends on how smart the other person is, and also if they are monitoring their networks and etc. You can't protect a computer 100%. I believe it is impossible. But you can save yourselves a lot of headaches by trying to keep your system up to date, your programs up to date. By editing your host file will give you some sort of protection and going to vulnerable websites by using OpenDNS server to try and give your network some protection. Or obviously, if you've got the money, you could probably buy a more expensive hardware modem or router than your internet service provider gives you. It's all about the settings and trying to set it up as best you can. Okay, not everyone uses Windows computers. Some people use MacBooks and some people use Linux. Personally speaking, I love using Linux, and I love trying out all the different types of Linux distros to see if I can find one that suits me. So if you're fed up using Windows computers and you can't afford to buy a MacBook, well then Linux is another choice. I would recommend that before you decide to use a Linux distro, which is an open source platform and has an open source code, it is free to use for personal use. But I believe if you try to use the code or break it and sell it on, you can be prosecuted. But for to use it as an operating system, it is free to use. Linux is also free to download. There's quite a number of different distros. Some are more complicated to use than others. Some are easy and some are complicated. Some computers or Linux distros will run well on some computers and some will not. You can do a bit of research on the internet. If you're using an HP computer, some people are having problems with it and some people are not. There is a few Linux distros I can recommend for the basic user. One is actually Ubuntu. Especially if you have an old computer at home with at least 500 megabytes of memory, actually Ubuntu, I have tested it, installed it on the system, and it does run pretty fast. Actually Ubuntu will basically let you do what you do on your Windows computer with most things. It does it a different way just. You can install it on a netbook if it's got 500 megabytes of memory. Windows XP will be running out in 2 years' time. It will be interesting to find out if Microsoft is going to extend it. Because a lot of people, or business people, still use Windows XP on their computers. A lot of businesses still haven't switched to Windows 7. Actually Ubuntu can freeze up sometimes, depending on the person that's using it. Like every operating system, you get a bug from time to time. But usually the Ubuntu community is pretty good in giving us feedback, and they're pretty good on trying to fix it. Linux is free to use. Some people try it and they find that because they've been a Windows user for long, they find it difficult to use. It comes with the Firefox browser by default, so you can browse the internet. It comes with a player, quite a number. You can actually install different ones of your choice. I would use Pccareman on Ubuntu, which will allow me to listen to radio stations or play the CDs or music. It also comes now with codecs to allow you to play YouTube videos. Alexander. Everyone is welcome into the room there. Okay, how you skin? I'm keeping an eye on the chat room, but at the same time I'm trying to concentrate on the topics best I can. Feel free, mods, to help me out as someone does pop in the room. And feel free to give your opinion. Now, to use the like of this one here, friends, I did do a video and I did post it on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in Justin TV /Pccareman, you will see the video, you'll be able to watch it. It will last about 46 minutes of how to install it and the basic way of finding your way around it and how to use it. I didn't want to play it tonight on the show to bore you, because a lot of people would get bored and probably find it too technical to understand. Friends, when I first started using Linux, like many people that firstly start, I hadn't a clue. The best way to learn it is play with it, and also by watching videos of other people, or Linux people, have done. Also, sometimes you have to do a bit of research on a particular problem by going to Google, typing in how do I play high definition videos on Linux. 9 out of 10 you will find the information that someone has posted. And you can try different methods and ways of getting it to work. So actually Ubuntu is out to use it as free. When you go to actually ubuntu.org, let me put it in the chat room. Maybe Steve, you can post it for me please, and put the link in the chat room. It's called ubuntu.org. If you want it, you basically click the button, get it, and then you will see two options of downloading. The latest stable release is 12.04. Thank you, Steve. Okay, now friends, you have torrent downloads if you have a torrent client on your computer. I would recommend you go to the Mega Downloads and you select the country that you live in. So if your system is using a 32-bit, you want the 32. If it's a 64-bit operating system, then obviously you would use the 64. It says here to install it or try it within the desktop live CD, you need 256 megabytes of memory. Installing with an alternative CD requires only 64 megabytes. Once installed, it is strongly recommended to have at least 512 megabytes of memory, but you can run it with 256. Most people usually would have, I'm sure 256 megabytes of memory are probably more on an old computer. If you've only got 64, I wouldn't try it. Okay, but you probably go back to handling 1, I believe. If I'm wrong again, feel free to correct me in the chat room. Linux basically is quite simple to install, friends. If you decide you want to wipe your old computer and you just want to have an operating system on it that you can use when it's stable. If you get fed up using Windows and it's crashing on you and you just want to change, you can use this a couple of ways. You can download the ISO, obviously, you will need it if you're going to install it, and also convert it to a blank CD or DVD, or use a DVD rewriter, what I would use to save money from buying discs. You can boot from the live CD and you can try it before you install it and just browse up the CD. So basically, if I wanted it, I would click United Kingdom. Here, I will come to the parent directory of Linux, and I will basically look for 138.6 ISO if I was using a 32-bit operating system. If I click here, it'll also bring up for my CD burner, and I can save it, which is the ISO. You need the ISO obviously, because you want to burn it to your CD or DVD. Then you basically want to set your computer to boot from your CD or DVD player, and actually Ubuntu will pop up on your screen. To burn it as an ISO, you can use an ISO burner, or your burning software on your computer. If you don't have burning software on your Windows operating system, you can use an ISO burner, or you can use a program called FreeBurn, FREEBURN. It's a burning software that you can use on a Windows computer, and it's free. So there's quite a number of software out there you can use. And you basically would burn it as an image file, an ISO file to your CD or DVD. If you do want to try it and you don't understand how to burn it, I would quite happy to make arrangements with you and talk you through the process through Skype whenever I've got time and you've got time at your convenience. So if you do want to try it, you're not sure. Now, if you decide to put it on side by side with Windows 7, or you're using Windows XP, you have to be careful when it comes to the partitioning part. Also, if you decide to roll it side by side, and you decide you no longer require it, sometimes you can cause problems if you're not sure. So be careful on what you're doing. Obviously, if you have computer knowledge, that'll not be a problem. But for those that don't really understand, well then that's when it can become a problem for you. When you install it, it also supplies you a lot of different options. You do have a Ubuntu software center when it's installed. You also have an update monitor on some of the Linux's distros to update your system, the same as you would on Windows. On a MacBook, you would click on the Apple logo sign, the top left hand corner. So yes, you do need to keep it up to date. Linux distros are free to use. There's one Linux distro that does require a donation, and I'll talk about that next week, but the majority of them are free. The app stores on Linux, you will find quite a number of different programs that come with the distro. On this particular one, actually Ubuntu, it does come with a software center. You will find it at the top left hand corner when you install it. You will see Ubuntu Software Center. If you're looking at Internet programs, you click Internet and you'll see a list of Internet programs. And they're quite simple to install. You just highlight it and click Install and type in your administrator's password, your root password. Is it easy to download? Yes, very easy to download. Now, if you decide you want you don't understand when you have it installed what a particular app is, in the software center you will see more information. If you click the button more information, it'll tell you what the software does. It'll give you an introduction or an explanation of it before you actually install it. If you do install it and you want to find your way about it, you're not sure, I'm quite happy to talk you through it. Now, Yosemite is easy to download. Okay, click actually want to get it. And then I'll go to United Kingdom where I live, because I don't want to use the torrent file. I'll go to parent directory, and if I want a 64-bit one, I would go for a 64. So I want a 32-bit one. Desktop 1386 ISO. I click here. You'll see here it'll say, give me the option of saving it or opening it. So I click save. And this is the ISO starting to download by using Firefox browser. It is recommended you do use it. Now, depending on your yes, that's correct, Charlie. If you do have any computer knowledge, you should be able to run it. That is correct. For those that don't have computer knowledge, I would quite happy to help you if you don't understand how to use it. So that's basically how you would download it as an ISO. So I want to stop that because I already have it on a CD. And remove. So this is one of many Linux distros you can use. You could actually phone to, I would recommend for using on older computers. Also, you do have another one called Ubuntu. Okay, you do have another one called Ubuntu, and they have released the latest version, 12.04. This one here is straightforward to install, and it's also easy to use. There's quite a number of videos on YouTube on how to use it. If you want to pop the YouTube after the show or whatever, you can watch them. And I'll show you. Now, these are ones that I would recommend for basic users, for people that's not really into Linux. And the one that operating system. Okay, so there's quite a number you can try. Another one called Mint. This one here is very popular. You've got Mint Linux. And you've got Linux Mint 13, the KDE. I recommend that for desktops. And this one comes with Flash Player installed. And it also comes with a few GStreamer codecs that you can use to play videos and etc. So there's three. Actually, Ubuntu, Mint Linux, or Ubuntu Linux. You do have another one called Hobby Linux that people have used, which is designed as a smaller operating system. There's another one called Jolly Linux. And the list goes on. Now this one here I have tested out. Okay, Jolly Linux. Basically, you make an account with them and you log in on the clouds. And you've got all your different applications. And you can also have an app store built in where you can install the extra apps. If you want to use Facebook, you click the app, or you can type it in to your browser. So Jolly Linux OS. Also, you can download it by clicking here. Or you can try it online. You can also use it on your Windows computer if you have Windows 7, Windows Vista, or Windows XP. You can click download for the Windows, which means you can use, when you reboot your computer, you can use Windows 7, or you can use Linux, wherever you prefer. There's also one I call Ping OS, Is it a better media player? Linux does come with quite a number of options. Reference playing music and stuff. Okay. You have quite a number of different types. It does give you quite a number of choice. Now I'm going to cover a media player in a couple of minutes that you can use on Linux, and you can use on Mac, and you can use on Windows. If you're fed up using a Windows media player on your Windows computer, there's another one I'll introduce you to. Some people might know about it and some people might not. Does Linux play music well? Yes. Text Renegade in the room, if he does make me sound, is actually using a Linux distro. And I tell you, he's quite happy with it. And it does broadcast on Blog TV. Yes, Linux uses a lower screen resolution, but it does give you good quality. So, back to Jelly OS quickly, and then I'll move on to the player I was going to talk about tonight. Jelly OS, what they say, will bring your old computer back to life, create the perfect internet experience. Friends, I have tested Jelly OS out, and I would recommend it to anyone that is having problems with their Windows computer, and they're just fed up with Windows. If you can't afford a MacBook, and you want something free, Jelly OS will work for you. The list goes on, friends. You have Memphis Linux, you have loads of different distros out. Now, you have a distro out called Fedora Linux 17, OpenSUSE Linux, and etc. But the like of them particular Linuxes, I believe, can be too complicated for someone that hasn't used it before. If you're looking at something simple, Jelly OS, you have another one. Tax, what's the name of that one that I was using? You've got Pccareman. I'm just waiting on this one here to load up. We'll go back on here. You've got Pccareman here, which comes with what they said works out of the box. Now, I tested this particular one here, but I find it to be very hard on the CPU. That was my personal opinion. It comes with the media codecs called GStreamer, and it also comes with the Flash plugins, everything that you need. But I find that this particular one is a memory bugger. It will bog your system down. At the start it looks good and it runs, but you do need at least near 2 gigs of memory for it. Okay, now if you're looking for an operating system, keep in mind if you're using an external hard drive, an external sound card, or not an external sound card, if you're using a sound card, PSI sound card, or you're using a graphics card, sometimes some Linux distros will just not work with certain hardware. But actually Ubuntu worked for me. Ubuntu worked for me, Linux worked for me, and this other one, I just want to put it in anyways, called Zorin. Now some people find that Zorin Linux doesn't work with their cameras, with their webcams. Okay, so do a wee bit of read up first before you decide to use it. Okay, reference your webcam. You might try 3 or 4 different types of Linux before you find one that suits you. Zorin OS is now being used by over 3 million users in this last year. It comes in the 32-bit and also comes in the 64-bit. If you go to here where it says it's called ZoranOS.com, if you click Get, then they do a couple of different options. They do a premium and a business one, and they do charge a couple of dollars for the business one because they supply a couple of programs that are not in the free one. The free one will allow you to read your email, browse the web, edit videos, broadcast on blog TV, and play your music, and etc. When you click Get at the top here, it will say 32-bit and 64-bit. So if your computer is 32, you want the 32. You also have different sites that are hosted by the ASO. So if I click download the 32, I would go to, let's see, if you're in the USA, go to this one, which is BIBLIO, Netherlands, Germany, Australia, and there's one for Ireland called ATANET. So I live in Ireland, so I would click on that one. There again, so 6, okay, they did bring out a version 6. They also have a version called 5.2. If you want to use an older version, you'll get it here on their site. Now, the ISO itself is 1.3 gigabytes. 1.3 gigabytes. Now, a couple of people have used this in the past and have said to me the webcam doesn't work. I have tested it out on a Logitech QuickCam Pro 9000 and it works for me. So keep that in mind on the type of webcam you're using. There is a program called Webcam Studio that has been out for quite a long time. You can also use that to broadcast if you're using blog TV. You will find here sort of a screenshot, okay, layout to give you an idea what it looks like when you install it. You burn the ASO, restart your computer, and boot from your CD or DVD. You will get a screen popping up on this particular one, and you scroll down by using your arrow keys on your keyboard, install directly. And a box will pop up and ask you whether it's English, United States, France, or whatever. What do you want to use? You just select your language, then your country, what do you want to call your computer. It'll then ask you if you want to install side by side with Windows or use the free space on the hard drive. If you want to install it by itself, it'll format your computer and install the system. When it's finished, you will get a pop-up box saying continue testing or restart. You basically want to restart. The CD will pop out. When you restart, you log in. You can set it to log in automatically, where you don't have to type a password in. Now, if you're using a Linux distro, make a good password up. It's very important. On Windows, they would call it the administrator's password. On Linux, they would call it the root password. So it is important to help you secure.
Fucking bookmarks and nuisance, I wish you'd get out of this estate permanently.
What you basically will see in front of you offering Zoran Linux OS is when you click on here, as you would on your Windows, you will see something similar to Windows 7 or XP. You want an internet program, you go to internet. if you go to system, you will find under your system tools, you will find your update monitor. And Tax has been on during, me and Tax had a conversation on the mobile quite a while back there, and I was quite happy to talk Tax installing it. And Tax is pleased with it. He's run it on a computer himself. Just because the fact he got fed up using Windows. Because he didn't want any hassle, he wanted a system that would work for him, that wouldn't give him any trouble, and etc. So far, things are looking good. You'll notice here, obviously, you can't see it too clear. So let me change the desktop to customize where I can probably show it to you a wee bit better. You'll notice here, by me making this here so you can see it, it comes, when it's installed, it looks like Windows 7. It looks like XP. The beauty about this particular one here, you can set it to look like Windows XP, to look like Windows 7 or Windows Vista. Some people use it and their webcam doesn't work for them. Taxes is working. Okay, Taxes is working. Now, when your webcam doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean that you just give up. Sometimes you have to go to Google and type in, or go to the store in the next community and say, I have a webcam that is called, I can't get it to work, can you help me? Because most of these Linux distro communities are quite happy to help you. Because they just don't sell one particular webcam to one person in the world. There's probably hundreds of people using this that have it. And I've had the same problem, but I've got it sorted. So it looks like XP and it looks like Windows, right? It even gives you the same options if you want a screen reader. Now, people have said to me, Linux is good for servers, if you run the server. Yes, Linux is good if you run the server, because you don't have to reboot it as often. That's my understanding. Some of the Linux distros say that you never get a virus on your computer. I personally would disagree with them. I believe that if you're using Linux, I believe it's more sensible to install an antivirus program that they supply in their software manager, or you could use Avast for Linux. They also supply you some of them with a firewall. Some of them come with Internet Protocol IP cables firewall. There's a number of firewalls you can use. Some of them are easier to set up than others. Here you will probably see this called computer. When you double click it, you will see your hard drive. You will see your system folder and all your different folders. That's your home folder. When you click that, you will see your folder for your music, your downloads, your photographs, to see what you want when it is. Over here, you will see, when you click it, you'll probably say log out, restart, or shut down. You'll see your Wi-Fi connection, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, and also your internet connection on your sound. So that's one part of it. It does have a quick changer where you can change it to look like Windows 7 or XP. Now, some Linux distros, you update them 2 ways or 3 ways. By the Sontech Package Manager, by the thermal, which is something similar to your CMD and Windows, your DOS command, or some will come with an update manager. This particular one comes with an update manager. It also, if you set it up and you have a good graphics card, when you move your screen or your mouse across the screen, it turns like a cube. you know, so. Okay, Charlie, you can see I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes now. Okay, so also they have a shortened web browser monitor where you can install Google Chrome or Opera web browser. Okay, so that's story Linux, friends. Okay, so let's move on to the one that I wanted to talk about tonight, to make it pretty quick, because I'm going here right now and I don't want to bore you too much. Okay, now I come across this one called XBMC. XBMC. Now, XBMC, okay, is a media player center. Okay, it's a media player center. Now, tax, can you use it on Linux? If you go to your software, or your Sontech Package Manager tax, type in XBMC. Okay, XBMC. Okay, so I'm going to download this quickly and give you an idea. Okay, most of us have Windows Media Center on our Windows computers. This one will work on a Linux, MacBook or Windows. It will allow you to listen to radio stations online, keep your photographs, play your music, and watch internet, RTI, TV programs, videos, and etc. So you put it download, it's xbmc.org. Okay, if you go to that link in the room and you go to downloads and click get, you will see here it'll work on the OS X, Linux, Windows, Ubuntu and the MacBook. So I'm going to go for the Windows one here and see if I can run it for you. Now, I have tested it out on Linux. It does say that there's 3 packages broken, okay? Do you want to disable them? I would recommend yes. And I believe it's 3 plugins to do with other sites that have bought it till at one time or another and have decided not to post their material to it. Okay, Tom, thanks very much for that. Right. As I say, I did come across it and I decided to test it out on Linux. So I'm going to install it on this one here to see what happens. I'm just waiting on it coming up here. It says it is safe. It says here, what is it? It's an open free, it's a award-winning free and open source TPL software media player and entertainment hub for digital media. It's available for Linux, OS X and Windows. It was created in 2003 by a group of like-minded programmers. More than 50 software developers have contributed to XBMC. 100 plus translators have worked to expand its reach, making it available in more than 30 languages. I tested it in Linux and it worked on, let me pull this over. It worked on the Linux, so I'm curious to see what it works on Windows 764. I'm just going to leave it by the default settings. Yes, I did read Tom about that there. I appreciate that, like what you put in. I did read something about an Xbox player. I did read up about that. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Xbox, yeah. The son actually had an Xbox system for playing games online there. And then he moved to the PS3, I think it was. So I tested it out on Windows Vista yesterday. It worked. So I'm testing it out on Windows 7 now. So let's take it back to run and see what happens. Hopefully, by using Minicam, I'll be able to get the full information here. So let it load up a second first. Okay, so you'll notice here, if I can maybe. Let's see. Now, it will say Yahoo Music Video is marked as broken. Okay. So we'll disable that. Also, it will say add-ons have been marked in the repository. Would you like to disable it on your system? Yes. And the reason I'm doing that is because I believe that. Let me bring up Minicam. I believe that, see if I can show you most of this, if not all. Okay, so you can use it for your videos and stuff, music programs, pictures, and etc. And it looks like the impression you're sitting in a cinema. So it's called XBMC. For anybody that wants to give it a buzz, okay, or give it a try now. What I'm going to do here is go to Video Add-ons. When you first install it, and click Get More. Now this one's for, you'll notice it says all of Algeria. So you scroll down the list. You'll see quite a lot of different types of videos you can select.
Even Twit TV.
This one here is documentary.net. Install the plugin.
Even Tom Merck from Twit TV.
I should start to install it if I can find it, you know. Also, it will come up at the bottom here and give you some information. So these are video plugins. And let me go back to the home button here. And let me go to the music. Music add-ons. Get more. And it'll give me a list of different music add-ons. This here is an MP3 search one. So
So
So basically, if you double click a particular one you want, this is a radio one here, and on the right hand side you will get a bit of, this is from Iceland and etc. Let's see now. Comes with SoundCloud too. Install the plugin for SoundCloud. It's enabled. You can configure a few settings and stuff like that there. Let's go back. And let's click music. So you notice because I added SoundCloud on the music. Okay. Double click it. And you have a list here. What have we seen now? So you can add extra plugins for, I think it's Icecast and etc. Let me go back a lot of them for music. Access 400 or 4,000 radio broadcasts, this particular one. Sky FM. That's really short. I think I ought. I think I added that one, I wasn't too sure. So you put your videos and put your music and you can add extra plugins. If you double click, there's Icecast there. Click install, and let's install the plugin. Go back and just click on music. Go to where the last plugin you installed that you want to listen to. It should download the information here. And upload the local cache. You can list all the stations or search for a particular station. So it's a media center if you want to try it out. I was looking for one for Linux, and this is why I decided to do this particular one, but I wasn't too sure that I didn't know it would actually work on Windows until I actually went to get the download. Let's see if I can find something to see how it plays. It works on Windows 7 on a 64-bit. It should work on I'll tell you what that would come in handy for, friends. If you're broadcasting on Blog TV and you want to play music, well, if you want to play music, it'll give you the graphical interference in the background, where you get this fancy name of the song and all the rest. And it's quite handy if you want to broadcast music on Blog TV. I don't think they would pull you for it, because a lot of us use Spotify, and a lot of us would use Spotify for music, radio, online radio stations. So it's quite handy to use this one. Obviously, if you like country, you can do search manually. You've got classic here, 84 strings. If you click on it, now, if you have a slow internet connection and you don't have a whole lot of bandwidth, well, then you can select the 64 gigabytes per second. And if you have fiber optic, and then you can go for the higher quality, 128 or whatever. There's actually one there, 224 gigabytes per second. So,
Dancing with Pccareman is the title. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't crash.
Dance along with Pccareman. Mozart.
Okay, just to give you an idea, it works. This is probably not the best type of music for to give you an idea what it sounds like.
Oh, I love Mozart. I love Mozart.
Now let's have a look at the videos here and see what the videos play like. You do have YouTube plug-in. Let's go to the documentary one just to see how it performs. If we want something to do with animals, there's a category list here. If you want to watch a documentary of an internet archive, there's quite a number of good documentaries, so we'll see how the video plays. and the script failed on that particular one. Okay, so make sure you don't have your system locked down too much because you can cause yourself a problem. And it probably depends on the country, etc. Some of these are actually from the Danish live TV. And this is your settings, your video settings. So this one here might work for us. It's buffering, and it has a play thing here at the bottom. So let's see what this is. Obviously I'm broadcasting and using a number of appliances, so you will get what they call buffer bloat sometimes. Okay, so just let it buffer and you'll be able to play it if you're into nature and stuff like that.
This is the forest of little souls.
Okay, so it will buffer depending on your internet connection. Okay friends, so that's an introduction to XBMC. I hit the escape button, it should bring me back here. Now, obviously if you've got pictures on your computer, you'll be able to view your pictures. It comes with the weather one, music, programs, and system information and settings. Okay. If you go to your settings here, this is where you can do all your different settings for appearance. Okay, your video settings, your music settings, your picture, your weather, all your plugins and add-ons, your network. You probably will need universal plug and play turned on. I've got mine disabled. And your system settings. And that's where you can change all the different skins. Okay, so that's BMC. And this is probably different setups that you could do for home theatre and stuff like that.
Yeah, watch home theatre on Twit TV.
So I was looking for a Linux one, okay, because I like to use Windows Media Player on Windows from time to time, along with Windows on a few others. Now, there was another one called MYTHTV, but I find that one not to work as good. So if you're a Linux user and you want a media player, give it a buzz, give us your feedback, and tell us what you think. It's very easy to use. It'll say that there's a couple of broken plugins. I haven't found out why. I'm only guessing that there's a possibility that they've probably changed some of the setup on it. If you click under appearance, you can change the skin and change the settings. Now, to close it, we go to the bottom here, and you have a number of options. So I basically click exit it. Okay, friends, I don't want to go into drama, and I don't want to cause any drama, okay? I have removed TS of operator privileges. That is my decision and mine alone. I also send her a message to explain and to tell her basically my thoughts. Okay, if I do not trust someone and I do not trust them, I will not want them as my personal friend. Okay, that's my choice. Okay, to move on, just to clear that mishap up. To move on, I'm going to bring in Steve on Skype on text if he wishes. Okay, so friends, it was short tonight. Well, it was probably a wee bit too long for you. Hopefully, not next week. Hopefully not next week, but the week after, we will have Steve back on how to build a computer. Maybe we got the wee bit of feedback. Okay, guys, I'll bid you good night. Okay, and let me help you on your way.
So let me kick her out. I had no choice. I just kicked her out.
Okay, you're moved on. Thank you. Okay, what I was going to say, friends, you will probably find that I am straight and I don't take decisions very lightly. I do a lot of thinking and I do my best. I'm here to help people that need help. And I also like working with people who I trust.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I have the chat room, you'll probably notice on the big screen here. Oh, hold on 2 seconds. Sorry, I still have a unit. Sorry about that. Right, friends, that's the best I can do for you tonight on the tag show. If I don't answer to you directly in the room, don't be offended. Don't think that I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. I'm just trying to concentrate on the topics. Thanks very much, Tom. I appreciate it. As I said, we'll try to do our best. You know, when you're doing it for quite a number of years, you sort of start running out of ideas and suggestions. And hopefully in the near future, we can get the like of Liquid Silver or a few other people into the room that want to anticipate and maybe make it that bit more interesting as best we can. The shows are now once a fortnight, because it gives me more of a chance to try and work out what's the best thing to do, and it also gives me a break because I'll do other things in life obviously as well. very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate your help and your support. I was watching a video on your YouTube channel the other day, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was real class. Leo must have fell out with someone on Twit TV, and he come across with a comment. I sort of watched it twice and just laughed at it, you know. Yeah, I thought it was funny. You know, we're all human, and sometimes in life, things sort of, they just niggle you at that wrong point. You try not to bite, but sometimes you just get caught out and you just say, okay, sort of blah blah blah, you know. But we all come a person in that situation sometimes. Yeah, it does pretty human after all, it does, yeah. I actually seen another one on his channel where he had interviewed a bunch of guys about Linux, and this particular guy was basically keeping him going and saying, did you get that mobile free? And I think he sort of got bugged and he just lost it and he just said, see what, screw you, and I just pulled it, you know. It was funny. Yeah, we're all human.
You're just right, Leo, if you're listening, you're just right. Or I would tell a couple of them to screw themselves very quickly. You're just right. I'll shake your hand for it.
Sorry, Tax and Steve, come on ahead of the room. Tax, what do you think about that player, XBMC?
He's just going to change over to strike.
Right, okay. Anyone that does broadcast in the room, feel free to post your link. I mean, moderators, feel free to post your link. Anyone that does broadcast. I think I'll put the piece in here, but I'll do it. Okay. I had to switch from Expert Broadcaster. I bought the license for 2 years, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I noticed in the Expert Broadcaster, one of the processes that's for local recording has got what they call a CPU memory leak. So I went to Google and typed it in, and I couldn't understand what it was, so I found out that basically it seems to be a bug in it or something, so I decided to remove it for the time being. So I had to go back to the Media Price Encoder and a third-party program, Pccareman.
Good RHT here, good RHT. Nothing like a tea bag. Nothing like a tea bag.
I was just reading the chat room. BBC Tech Online. I haven't seen this week's yet. Simplicity. Honey.
Simplicity Linux on a USB.
Tested something out called Google OS last week. And I don't believe Google has actually released a version of the OS yet, but I believe it's something similar to browsing in the clouds. Older people like myself. I haven't seen BBC Pccareman, I'll have to watch it. Friends, I just want to clear up one other thing. Windows 8 is supposed to be released some date, I think it's the 23rd or 25th of October.
The 26th is PC.
26?
Yes.
Is that why Expert uses a lot of CPU? 26th October, Tom, for Windows 8. Joyce, by using Expert on Manicam, or sorry, Expert on Escape, call on a computer that has a 3.6 gigahertz processor 4 gigs of memory and 64-bit system. It was using with the two of them about 78% of the CPU. And that's has spotted there was something wrong. Right, reference Windows 8 I did notice yesterday if you're using the Windows 8 preview system, which will roll out in January, you will be entitled to upgrade to Windows 8 for $40. That has been confirmed by Microsoft. I also believe if you've got Windows Vista Home Edition and you want to upgrade to Windows 8, it'll cost you about $40. Windows 7, Steve, what's the price for Windows 7? Personally speaking, I find that Windows 8 runs quicker than Windows 7. I tested it out on an HP laptop with 4 gigabytes of memory on its own, and I found out that it run a lot quicker than Windows 7. The only thing is with the preview, you'll find that a number of hardware drivers is not compatible at the minute. Hopefully when they release it, it will cover most of them, hopefully. For an example, on the laptop computer I have a remote control device and a fingerprint identity, a digital identity, and it didn't pick up the drivers for it, so I decided to put it back to the original for the time being. In theory, Windows 8 is better on the memory and CPU and except in sleep mode. But Windows 7 works. Yeah, Windows 7 is a good operating system. Definitely is. I don't know how Microsoft's going to go with this particular one, Windows 8. Is it going to be successful? Now, I'm using a multi-touchscreen Sony Vaio Windows 7 computer. And I'm a wee bit scared to put Windows 8 on it at the minute, even if it does come out, because I'm wondering, will the multi-touch screen and all the hardware, will it pick it up? That's the only thing, you know, I'm wondering about. So I still use XP. I was on holidays a few weeks ago to a place called Blackpool in the UK for a week's vacation. And I travelled by a boat called the Stanley Line, which is 10 years old and has been refurnished. I noticed that the crew was actually using Windows XP for their graphics and their water charts before they come into the lock. Right. Now I'm wondering, will Microsoft extend Windows XP for another couple of years, or will they just basically kill it? Now, I hear Windows Vista on the technical end of it with Microsoft is killed already. I heard if you phoned up with a technical problem with Windows Vista, Microsoft will not help you. I did hear that much, you know.
But am I right? I don't know. Give us your thoughts. Sign up.
There's actually people still using Windows 8. Yep, believe it or not. On how they're doing it beats me, because Microsoft definitely don't support it. But there is people still using Windows 8 yet.
If you smoke, do not smoke, it is bad for you.
April 2014. Right. That's supposed to be the kill update for XP.
Oh,
Taxi, you there? Or are you still away? Or
yeah, he's away. I don't know if he's back home.
right? Can't use his mobile phone or something. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the room. Yeah, I know you're in the room, yeah, but I thought you were on Skype there. Right, so the next show will be not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, which will be, let me check the dates, the 14th of October.
Yes.
Right. Okay, be on schedule, no, that's next, right. Okay. The 14th of October is the next computer tech show on Blog TV. At the same time, friends, 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be covering how to install a power supply unit in your computer, in your desktop computer, if you happen to need one in the near future. So that'll be covered by Steve, 1166 in the chat room. He done a video a fortnight ago on how to install a desktop motherboard. I went through a few of the settings. So I'm just marking the calendar for the October the 14th. We only do one more fortnight night, friends, because it gives me a chance to listen to other podcasts on the try and pick up and learn a wee bit more.
Good Irish tea, old Irish tea bag.
You put their website on the chat room or no?
Yeah, I was about to do that actually.
Okay, Cox will be right back. How's the mic going? So far, so good. So far, so good. Tom, so far, so good. I'm still using the podcaster's mic, yeah. It's worked out, and it's worked out okay up to now, you know.
Next week.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would love to buy something even better again, you know. But it's like everything else. It's you can only work off what sort of money you've got on you, mate. You know. Yeah. Some people have come into the room and said that it's brilliant. And some people have come in and said that they can't hear it that well. But so far it's working okay for me, you know. You'll probably notice on the big screen there, I'm actually using Ubuntu 12.04. The two monitors are just basically using two monitors. Now when it first came out, when that particular Linux distro came out, it was a wee bit buggy at the start. I had to end up taking it off and trying it again a couple of months later, you know.
Okay, friends.
The only problem I ever had is understand your eyes, yeah. Hi, yep.
You weren't me.